Hi, my name is Daisy DeCoster, and I'm the director of the Teresa and Edward O'Toole Library at St. Peter's. I'm also a research librarian, and I'm here today to talk a little bit about how you can find and utilize scientific literature for your biology lab report. So there's three kinds of literature that you're going to be utilizing in your research. And this is all outlined in your biology lab textbook, General Biology Laboratory 1, starting about on page 68. And the first kind of literature is called primary literature. So this is comprised of original research, new scientific discoveries, some results of data collected in the field or laboratory. And these are going to be published in peer-reviewed journals, and they're going to be published usually as research articles, but sometimes as dissertations, technical reports, and conference proceedings. And I'm going to focus today a little bit on helping you find that primary literature. You're also going to be utilizing what's described as secondary literature. So here you won't see the original lab experiments or the original field results, but you'll see articles or papers that summarize this primary research. Sometimes these are called literature review articles. And I'm also going to show you how to find some of these in the library databases. These secondary sources themselves usually contain extensive bibliographies. So as researchers, we like these secondary sources because they help us find more literature on the topic. And the last type of source is the tertiary literature, which consists of summaries and summarized versions of materials. And they're a good place to get started to look up facts or get a general overview of the subject. And some examples could be textbooks, dictionaries, encyclopedias, etc. So at the beginning, I think I mentioned that these primary sources, primary research articles, are often found in something called an academic or scholarly journal. So I like to take a moment to talk about that because we use the word journal in different ways in our day-to-day life. Many of you might understand a journal as somewhere that you write your thoughts or you sort of reflect freely like a diary. But in this instance, an academic or scholarly journal is a periodical publication, so something coming out on a schedule, usually bi-monthly, that pertains to a certain academic discipline, in your case, biology. And academic journals serve as permanent and transparent forums for the scrutiny, presentation, and discussion of research. So transparent means that we can read it, we can see it. We're not hiding the research, we're sharing it. And these journals, you might hear your professor say peer-reviewed research. That means that the articles aren't published until they're looked over and evaluated by a group of peers of the author, so other biologists in the case of the articles you'll be looking at. A primary research article looks a lot like your lab report might look in a lot of ways, but it has some sections that you're going to be used to seeing, and you'll say, ha, that's a primary research article. So you'll see the title, the authors, the abstract, which is the summary of the article, a nice introduction, the results, the discussion, which you'll also have in your lab report, which is where you may see many of those citations of other articles, and then the references at the end. So you'll kind of get used to knowing that something is a primary research article because it has all these sections, particularly the materials and methods, results, and discussion. You will not see those in secondary or tertiary sources. So the big reason I'm here is to help you find these primary literature sources, also known as peer-reviewed research articles. And there's three databases that I recommend, and we're going to look at one of them at the end of my presentation here and do a little searching. The biggest question we get from students is, where is the full text? So this is an introductory paper, so I think you might do fine with our full text databases and just restricting to full text and kind of ignoring things that don't give you the full text. But just so you know, part of research is sort of sometimes running into little barriers, and you might not always get the full text, either in Google Scholar or the library databases or wherever you're searching. So what I would ask you to do for this assignment is to just kind of go to the articles that have the full text. But if you do want something that isn't coming up, my big message is not to pay. So we do have a few services that will help you get the article in full text. One of them is our interlibrary loan program, where basically you fill out a form on our website and we obtain the article. Another one is where we buy individual articles for you through Science Direct. That's one of our databases that we just happen to have a deposit account for. And in that case, you can email us at reference@stpeters.edu. So that's just, especially if I think I might be speaking to biology majors who are going to be doing bigger projects down the road. I just want you to know that we have, even if you don't see everything in full text on the library databases, we have some ways to get around that, even if you don't use it for this intro class. So I'm going to be showing you some tips for finding the research articles, but just a little reminder that you do have to cite them. Citation, and you'll see this when you're reading research, you'll see their citations. It's part of scholarly communication. It's part of how we share what we looked at when we did an experiment. So some words of advice on that citation process. Number one, keep track of your citations as you do your research. If you read an article before you click away, make sure you gather all the info you'll need for that citation. Secondly, don't forget the in-text citations. Citation typically has two parts. So in that discussion part of your lab report, you're going to be citing these primary, secondary, and tertiary sources, usually with the author's last name and some other info in parentheses. That will then correspond with your works cited list at the end of the lab report. So citation has two pieces, in-text and list at the end. Utilize citation tools because they're out there. So when I show you the databases, I'll show you how you can easily sometimes see the PDF, the APA citation. Consider Zotero. Zotero is a great tool for helping manage your citations and research for any research papers or lab reports you're writing. And lastly, I always recommend the OWL, O-W-L, OWL Online Writing Lab from Purdue. It's got great resources on citations. So if you have any question on formulating those, if you're doing them from scratch, check that out. Just Google OWL, Purdue, and whatever style you need. In your case, I think it's APA style. So I want to go back and talk about how you find those articles. So those ProQuest Biology journals, PubMed, and Google Scholar were three places I recommended looking. Okay, so I wanted to take you to the biology research guide, and you can find this a few ways, but the way that most of you will find it is in every Blackboard course shell for biology. On the side links, you will see a link that says library databases. Library databases. And if you're in a biology class, that will take you here. Another way you can access the library resources is going to the St. Peter's homepage. We're linked in library at the top, and that will take you here. And you can do all kinds of searching to get to the pardon me, to get to the biology research guide, you just can go to research guides and click biology. But most students these days are getting here through Blackboard. So you're in Blackboard already, click on library databases, you go right here. And today, I'm going to try searching the very top link, ProQuest Biology Database. So the ProQuest Biology Database is an interdisciplinary database subscribed by the library. That means we pay for it. When you click that link, you'll be asked to log in with your username, which is everything that appears before the @ in your email, and your password, which should be the same as you use for Spirit. And from off campus, you could search some of our subscribed biology journals here. So your lab for this semester, which I understand is a virtual lab, is going to talk about an enzyme, alcohol dehydrogenase. And that is the search I recommend doing to find some articles for your lab report on this area. So you'll see you get quite a few results when you search ProQuest, and you know you're kind of searching. The good thing about searching here, we do have that big one search on our homepage, which you're welcome to try. But the nice thing here is you know you're in journals related to the biological sciences. If you search the one search on our homepage, you could be getting things from other fields, chemistry, that might come up with this search, or even, you know, it could come up in things related to criminal justice, or, you know. So this means we're in biology journals, so that makes it easy. I think for me, it makes it easier. You'll see your results. It will tell you where it's from. These are mostly from scholarly journals. Almost all of our results are from scholarly journals. There's a few coming from magazines and trade publications. And then usually, you know, you can read the title and see what's interesting to you. And if you want to know more, click on the title of the article. Be aware that as intro students, sometimes these, I mean, really for all of us, sometimes these primary research articles are difficult to read. They have a lot of scientific language, but don't let that daunt you. You really want to find a primary research article that uses this enzyme just so you can tie it in your discussion with how, you know, some findings about this enzyme or how it's used in the field. You're going to see, like I said, a lot of these, and you can download the full PDF of the article from ProQuest. That's something you might want to do. You'll see all these icons up here of different things you can do. So you can download the PDF, you can cite, you can email it to yourself, and you can print it. So those are some of your options for working with research in ProQuest. I downloaded the PDF, so now I can open the full article. And we know it's a primary research article because, you know, you can just read it and tell it's talking about an experiment and participants, but you'll see the abstract, you see the methods, you see the results, you know, so we know this is primary research. They really did an experiment as opposed to a secondary source where they looked at experiments, or a tertiary source where they kind of discussed it in a sort of, you know, context for everyday people. This is real primary research. And then you see the discussion. So that is an example. And of course, there are references at the end, and they have about 28 references. You're not going to need so many for your lab report. So this is how we usually access, you know, peer-reviewed research these days. Very little happening in print, so we were already doing it online. I mentioned there's citation tools, and ProQuest definitely has them. I think APA, we're into 7th edition. So this is at APA citation. You could copy that citation and put it into your Works Cited, or you can save it in a Word doc until you need to use it. There's also great tools in ProQuest that you will see where you can email articles to yourself, and you can, if you take your time here, you can include that bibliographic citation in the email. So there's other great tools. ProQuest, also tools to look for related. A little ride on ProQuest Biology Database. There are other resources linked here that you can try for that primary research article. PubMed is another one that is free that I also think can be useful with health related topics. So if you're going into healthcare related fields, I definitely recommend looking at PubMed, which is from the National Library of Medicine. And not everything is full text. If you want to, just for this assignment, limit to free full text, that's probably a great idea. And you'll see some scholarly articles. So that is my presentation on how to locate literature for your lab report. Please check out the Biology Research Guide. It has many resources on it, and it's located in every Blackboard course shell. So I thank you for watching this presentation. Please also seek out help if you go to the library homepage, pardon me. If you go back to the library homepage, O'Toole Library at stpeters.edu, you will see ways to ask a librarian for help. We have a search box. You can also email us at reference@stpeters.edu. If you can't find the full text or have any trouble, please reach out to us for help. And thanks for listening. Have a great day and good luck with your research.